Hi guys, Mr. G once again, still got Miss Fraser's hands. You are welcome. Today we're going to take a look at a fictional text or an excerpt from a fictional text. This one's called Ghost by Jason Reynolds. Just by looking at the picture of the title, now don't judge a book by its cover, but this time you can at least tell a little bit about what we might be expecting from this book or expecting from the protagonist, because we see a guy running a race, almost like he's running off the book there. So you can make a prediction based off this, and many times you'll find this is very helpful in your understanding of the narrative and your understanding of what exactly is going on in this fictional text. Since this is an excerpt and it comes from the middle of a longer novel, we have a bit of an explanation at the top. It's a little piece that catches us up and kind of lets us know who we're dealing with and what situation we're in. So starting from the top, there's a synopsis. Castle Ghost Crenshaw is from Glass Manor. He's picked on by a familiar bully because of his hometown, his mother's job as a cafeteria worker at a hospital, and because his clothes are too big for him. He's determined to be a professional basketball player, although he's never been on a real team. He loves eating sunflower seeds and stumbles across a track practice while consuming his favorite snack. Now, this synopsis focuses in on our protagonist here. We can see he's being developed as the character that is striving towards something. This is the character that's going to have some challenges to face. Castle Crenshaw, but he goes by Ghost, which is, of course, where we get the title for our novel. Starting off in paragraph 1, we already know who the protagonist is. I want to keep an eye out for any conflicts that arise and who those conflicts are with. Is it the antagonist, for instance? So, starting in paragraph 1, yeah, man, the track is for runners, not people who want to pretend like they runners, Lou jabbed, now standing straight. He looked me up and down, then flashed an arrogant grin. Okay, we learned a lot just from paragraph 1. Obviously, we have someone that's going against our protagonist here, and that's Lou. The way Lou speaks to our protagonist indicates that he's not only arrogant, he's looking down on Ghost. He's saying he's only pretending like he's a runner. So obviously, Lou is pretty proud of himself here. And before he even sees Ghost run, he's just assuming that, hey, he's going to be the best. Ghost isn't worth his time. So we meet our antagonist, and we're introduced to what could be the conflict here. We've got a disagreement between these two guys, and we'll just have to continue reading to see how this plays out. Paragraph 2, just blow the whistle, I finally called to the coach. He stopped in his tracks and glared. Then he looked at Lou before continuing in my direction. He pointed his clipboard at me. Listen, you get one run, you hear me? After this, I don't want to see you around here no more, he threatened. This is serious business, you understand? I gave him the whatever face and nodded. He pointed his stupid clipboard at me like I was scared of that. Please. Then as the coach headed back to the finish line, Lou shook his head back to the finish line and growled, hope you're ready to get smoked. In this section, from paragraph 2, we see that Ghost and Lou are preparing to race, and that the coach doesn't necessarily have the same belief in Ghost that Ghost does. He gives him one chance, and he makes sure that that's very clear. And then in paragraph 4, you notice how our protagonist reacts, which tells us how he's feeling. It says he gave him the whatever face. He mentions he's not scared of the clipboard. It's clear that our protagonist is not easily intimidated. This is not a situation that he is too concerned about. He's quite confident in his ability. Even when Lou is shaking his head, telling him, I hope you're ready to get smoked, we don't see any exciting reaction from Ghost. He seems comfortable here. In paragraph 5, this time I said it. Whatever. I gave him my best ice grill to make sure he knew he didn't scare me, and he didn't. We were just running, not fighting. So why should I be frightened by some milk-faced running boy? So this furthers our idea that our protagonist is quite confident in himself, not intimidated by the situation. The stage is not too big for him. In paragraph 6, just as they're getting ready to run, we see an interaction between the coach and the boys. It says, now back at the other end of the track, the coach yelled out, on your mark. Lou dropped down on all fours again. I just put my right foot forward. Get set. Lou put his butt up in the air. I leaned in. Then, ba-deep! I wish I could tell you what I was thinking, but I can't. I probably wasn't thinking nothing, just moving. Man, were my legs going. I pumped and pushed, my ankles loose and wobbly in my sneakers, my jeans stiff and hot the whole time, seeing Lou out the corner of my eye like a white blur. Then it was over, and everybody watching, all the other runners clapped and hooted, pointing at us both. Some had their mouths open, others just looked. In paragraph 6, we see the moment that we've been building up to, the actual race. We notice that Lou treats it very professionally. Ghost seems more like just a talented beginner. When he's running, he doesn't remember what he was thinking, but he remembers he was pushing as hard as he could. It says his legs pumped and pushed, his ankles were loose in his sneakers, and his jeans were hot and stiff. This tells us maybe he wasn't quite prepared for a race, but from what we've read before, we see he obviously didn't back down. He's clearly a confident runner and someone who's up for a challenge. Furthermore, at the end, we see, we don't know the results of the race, but we see everyone else's reaction. The last sentence says, and everybody watching, all the other runners clapped and hooted, pointing at us both. Some had their mouths open, others just looked. I would suggest that this part of the text foreshadows the winner of the race. Although we haven't been told explicitly who won this race, the reaction of the people standing by and the reaction of the other runners indicates to me that they're surprised that Ghost was able to step up here in his shoes that didn't fit, in his jeans that were hot and hard to run in. He ended up beating Lou. And so that's what I'm determining. That's an inference I'm making based off this last paragraph, this text evidence here at the end that shows us how the crowd reacted. So of course I'll have to continue reading to find out if I'm right. However, I do have a lot of evidence to support that idea in this section. Overall, we see a protagonist that is confident in his own ability, up for a challenge. We see an antagonist who is equally confident, although probably is underrating Ghost. In the end, we're kind of left on a cliffhanger here, but the reactions from the crowd indicates that Ghost actually pulled this off and was able to beat Lou in his one chance in front of the coach. Thanks. Bye.